Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse, Mr. Freeze. I am beyond excited to have this figure. The same way that I felt about Bane in that video is how I feel about this Victor Freeze. Because I love Victor Freeze. I think I also called him Victor Freeze a second ago. But Mr. Freeze is one of my favorite Batman villains. He's up there with Bane. So finally having a good version of the figure on the shelf, or a good version of the character on the shelf, is just so exciting. I love the line. I love DC Multiverse because of the fact that we're getting, like, I know a lot of people complain about Batman, like everything's Batman. Okay, fine. All right, cool. There's a lot of stuff that is Batman. Sure, fine. But as a result, we're getting figures like this. We're getting figures like the Nightfall Catwoman. We're getting, that Bane. Like, we're getting a proper Batman Rogues Gallery. And I don't know why people are complaining about that. Because that's so freaking awesome that we're actually getting a proper Rogues Gallery for Batman. But, whatever. People are just going to complain about everything. And, you just gotta ignore people. But anyway, let's get into what this figure comes with. So, this is not what this figure comes with. Because this gun actually is from... Okay, there goes Victor. And that dog. But this gun is actually from the Mezco... Why is this not focusing? It's from the Mezco Sovereign Knight Batman. It's some sort of gun. I don't know what it is. Maybe like a Sonic Blast or something. But I like that gun a lot better because it fits in Freeze's hands so much easier. I don't know why, but it fits in his hands so much easier. It's not as heavy. It looks a lot more not like this. And yeah, it just is so much better because this is okay. It's very heavy in his hand. I personally don't like it. I think that if you are going to get it, maybe chop the entirety of this off because this part right here is not attached to this. It's like glued on or something because if you look, there's a peg in there. And mine's already starting to bend and warp and break and stuff. And I feel like this just looks better than this. But hey, it's your Freeze figure. You do whatever you want with it. But personally, I'm going to use this because I just feel like this is nicer. And I may even like chop this ice piece off and put it on the front of this so I can have an option for it, But I just personally don't really care for this gun. I think it's beautifully sculpted. And I like the blue on there. I like that it matches his belt and all that stuff, like his head and everything. But it's okay. And then if you also have seen what the Freeze figure looks like, he has a glass thing around his head, which is currently not on the figure because, well, one, I like being able to move his head. It comes off, so you can move the head with it, which is nice. I like that option. And this little slot here goes in the front. But for the life of me, I can't get it back on him. I literally can't get it back on. I'm going to have to heat up the figure if I want to get it back on him. But I personally... I kind of like him like this. I think he looks better, in my opinion. I feel like, I love, obviously, the classic look of him with having the giant, like, bowl on his head. But, I don't know. There's something kind of cool about this. It's almost like the cold is just kind of being pushed out through the neck area and keeping his head cold instead of it, having to be like a spacesuit sort of thing. Because, like, this is what it looks like with it on there, but obviously sits down a little lower. I personally just don't care for it. I think it's also better in pictures if you have it like this. So, it's not bad, though. I don't hate it. I just can't get it back on there, and I'm not terribly upset about it. Another thing that I am going to do with this figure, I think, at some point, I'm going to add some, like, silver to the armor and maybe some blue in there because I feel like it's just very drab. I don't know. I feel like it's... Because there's just a lot of rivets throughout, like for the detail on it. Let's take a look at that real quick. He's got like a lot of straps and buckles and like buttons and gaskets and whatnot and pads and everything. And I feel like there should just be some more detail throughout that, especially because, look at how nice this face sculpt looks. Like there's some tone in this face. I think it looks really good. The goggles and everything looks good. There's like different shades of blue and green in there to make his head look like a normal human being because people's skin tone isn't just one color. It looks good. I like it. I also love the red for the goggles and for his chest like thing. I think that looks really good. It's not bleeding onto anything else, which is really always nice because it's always very hard to try to get red paint off of stuff, I feel like. Because sometimes it'll smear and then it just looks like they're bleeding. But this armor almost looks like it looks good. I like it. I think they put like a sheen on it trying to make it look, you know, armor-y. But I almost feel like it looks more... And I love the look of Stormtroopers, but I feel like it almost looks kind of Stormtrooper-y, like almost that plastic type thing instead of a metal, like, suit. Or like an astronaut type, you know, plating kind of suit. But, you know, that's all right. And then as for his pack back here, which I didn't even think to talk about that real quick, it's actually dented and stuff, which is really cool. It's not really showing up that well on camera here. There we go. But yeah, see, there's like a whole bunch of different... It's almost like the pack has gotten the absolute shit kicked out of it by Batman, which is pretty cool because there's even a dent down here, which is really cool. I do like that. And the goggles paint, you know, goes all the way around too. It's not just like he has glasses on or anything, which is pretty cool. I like when they go and they put that little bit of extra detail like into the sculpt work. Because whether or not, you know, they put the paint on it, that's okay. You know, like I would love it if they would go that extra mile and put all the paint that they could possibly do on it, like painting all these rivets and everything, because that would just make the figure, you know, be so much better in my opinion. But I think as it is, it's fine. And it's almost like a blank canvas. So like it gives you that opportunity to express yourself, you know, through painting and whatnot and make your figure your own, which I personally love to do. I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. And I know that a lot of people like to have their figures stock or, you know, mint and box and stuff like that. And if that, you know, this figure in its stock form turns you off, I definitely get it. Because one, it doesn't match what's on the box. Two, there's a lot of stuff that they could have painted and they didn't. And that, you know, and I just, yeah, I personally, I don't mind it because I can do that kind of stuff and I like doing that kind of stuff. But if, you know, you don't care for it or you don't want to do it, I don't blame you. You know, I don't blame you at all. I think that that's definitely valid. But as for like, you know, the articulation, but also the detail on this, because we went over the detail a little bit, but they changed the articulation on this guy. It's standard Mcfarlane, but they threw in some import stuff, which is crazy because I know if you know your imports, you can already see what I'm talking about right now. But we'll get, you know what, we'll go over that first. His elbows are import elbows. I don't know if you guys can see that up there. Let's see if this will focus right here. But it's got the one piece on the inside, and then the outside has two different pieces. So it can actually rotate here on the forearm guard, the bicep like block thing. But like here, if I bring it into the light a little better here, maybe. There you go. You can kind of see it on this one elbow on his left side. If I do that, and then I bring in the Mafex Superman, actually it's reversed. Now that I'm looking at it, because the outside actually has that piece. But yeah, it's like the 3-piece thing to put it together, which is actually really cool. And I mean, I wouldn't complain if they started doing it like that, because then that way, like I know a lot of people, I mean, it would actually kind of be a bummer for me in terms of customizing, because it's harder to do that with pinless stuff. You know, it's harder to customize that kind of stuff. But it might actually be better for customizing, to be honest with you, because the elbows could stay the same color. You could just take them apart and paint them. My mind is going crazy right now for this, but this is just so cool because it adds in that little bit of import quality. Because if you look now, he doesn't have any joint, or he doesn't have any like pins. He has them obviously in his legs still, but not his arms. And I think that's kind of cool. And if they do decide to keep, you know, do that going forward with all their multiverse stuff, cool, more power to them. I'm down. I love this, that they're trying that stuff. And if they want to try the joints and the ankles like they had on Kara, like I showed in the last video, and that stuff, then sure, you know, if they want to start like experiment with the articulation, find out what works, you know, throw stuff at the wall, see what works and what doesn't, and make the best figures that you can, Mcfarlane, because you guys are killing it, and I couldn't be happier with this stuff, honestly. There's some that really piss me off, but, you know, hey, that's how Hasbro is, too. I love Hasbro, and I also want to throw their stuff at the wall sometimes, too, because it just be like that. But as for his articulation, his head can go up that far. It does run into the collar thing back here, though. It can go that far down, which is awesome. It can literally go inside the suit, basically, which is really cool. So you can almost kind of look like he's knocked out or, like, powering down, essentially, like running out of fuel and whatnot. These right here are very pliable, which is really nice because as a result, you can get his arms to go up all the way like that with zero issue, which is so cool. He has bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, like I said before. He has swivel at the bicep too and the forearm because of the way they did these joints in here. Standard Mcfarlane joints at the wrists. As for his torso, both can make it go that far forward, that far back. Got some twist and rotation, you know, all that kind of good stuff. Legs go out, that far, which is fantastic. Can go forward and don't actually kick out either, and then can go back a little bit. He's got no real swivel here at the thigh, like in terms of that joint up there. Knees can go back that far, they're double jointed, but, you know, obviously runs into the armor plates. And then standard joints at the ankles for, you know, Mcfarlane stuff. And then, of course, toe pivot. But the articulation on this guy is pretty solid. I do enjoy it. I think it's really good. And I do like that they tried that with the elbows. And I hope they, you know, dabble in that a little bit more, because I think that would be pretty cool for them. And now here's the moment of truth. Let's move on to some size comparisons. Here he is next to the Mcfarlane Bane and then the Mcfarlane Batman that I did customize, by the way. So he is a little bit shorter than he is normally. But this looks good. I think Freeze, he's just like a hair shorter than Batman, which is fine. I don't think that's a problem. And then obviously he's shorter than Bane because Bane is a behemoth. But I love these three together. This is so, so cool. And then if you're looking to put him in with your Arkham stuff, I think this works well too. I think you absolutely could put him in your Arkham display because he has like a lot of detail to where he looks real world, but also retains that kind of comic book look. And then as always, here he's next to the Mafex Hush Superman and the Marvel Legends 20th Anniversary Captain America. And I think this is pretty cool too. You could have Freeze be the reason that Cap gets put in the ice. And then here he is next to the Sentinel Peter Parker Spider-Man. And since we don't have the Mezco Mr. Freeze, and we're probably never going to see that ever, here he is next to the Mezco Daredevil. And I think this looks pretty good. So you probably could, honestly, I guarantee you if someone hasn't done it, they're going to do it already. They're going to take these armor plates, carve out the insides, and slap this on a Mezco body and throw like a black undersuit under there. And that's going to look good. That's all I'm going to say. Overall, in case you couldn't tell, I love this figure. I think it's awesome. I think it's so much better if you take off the bowl, you know, his kind of bowl thing, because I think it's better for photos, and it's just, it won't go back on. So like, it's also kind of spite for me, but being able to change the head, you know, on command and not have to worry about trying to take that off and put it back on every single time, I think is a lot more beneficial, to be honest with you. I do like this as well. I bet you could probably get this on eBay too, if you wanted to maybe try to find, or hell, if you even have like an old Mr. Freeze figure from like one of the Arkham games, I bet you that gun might, you know, one of those guns might be better for this too. But I think this one's good, but I think doing this for him is better. I just think that it has a lot more of a real world feel to it in terms of, well, you know what I mean? About as real as a Freeze gun could be, you know what I'm saying? But I could not be happier with this figure. I mean, obviously, like I said, you know, I might throw a black wash and some silver and all that stuff, maybe a blue wash too, just to bring out and make his details pop a little bit more. But as is, I think it's fine. I think it's good. And you know, we'll see. We'll see what I do with it. But yeah, I think the articulation's great. I love what they tried with the elbows, you know, going for that kind of import style, which is really cool. I hope that they keep dabbling with articulation stuff. But yeah, that's going to do it for me, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.